Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is your first time here. My name is Unwana Udoh, and every week I share content that can help you master your personal finance and grow your wealth. So thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, we're going to look at why cash flow is more important than revenue. Now, before we jump right in, I just want to have a little disclaimer. I am not a tax professional. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not a business consultant. I'm just a regular guy on YouTube sharing content with my subscribers to enlighten you and help you avoid some financial mistakes. So now that we have that out of the way, let's jump right in. So for most people don't really understand what cash flow is all about. Now, if you own a business, cash flow is really vital. Whether you own a business or you don't own a business, cash flow is the lifeblood of your financial well-being. So let's look at for an individual, how do you calculate your cash flow? So basically, in order for you to be able to calculate your cash flow, you want to take into account all your income sources. So depending on if you have a 9-to-5, if you have part-time job, if you have a part-time business going on, you add all the income from all those areas, and then you also add all your expenses, and the difference between your expenses and your income is your cash flow. Unfortunately, for most people who live above their means, they end up with a negative cash flow situation whereby they don't have enough cash coming in to take care of all their obligations. Also, for a business, the same thing applies. For a business, it's a little more technical. We're not going to go into all the technical terms on how to calculate a business cash flow, but it's basically on a simplified form. It also has to do with, you take your income or your revenue, you subtract all your expenses, and what's left is technically your cash flow. So we're not taking into account, taxes and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm just looking at straight raw numbers, just taking your revenue and then subtracting your expenses, and what's left we'll assume will be your cash flow. However, when you decide to go for a loan, when you try to apply for a loan, banks are interested in what your cash flow situation is. So like I said, for a business, it's a little more complicated. There are more calculations that go into determining what your cash flow is. But for an individual, it's basically you take your income, you subtract your expenses, and what's left is your cash flow. So since my channel has to do with personal finance and wealth creation, we're just going to stick to the personal side of things. Now, whenever you go to apply for a loan, whether it's a home equity loan or a personal loan or a car loan, most financial institutions will look at your cash flow situation, which is why they require your pay stub to look at how much income you have coming in. Sometimes, depending on what kind of loan you're applying for, they might ask for your income tax returns to see exactly how much money you earned for the previous year or the previous couple years, and then based on that they can do their computation and figure out what your cash flow is. So cash flow is your lifeblood, so you have to make sure that you take your cash flow situation seriously. You have to make sure that cash flow is paramount for you. Now, earning income is just one side of the equation. So you might have a high revenue source, however you might have a negative cash flow because your expenses outnumber your income source. So you want to make sure that your cash flow, you're always in a positive when it comes to your cash flow situation, because cash flow is what pays your debt. Cash flow is what pays your obligations. Okay, so if you don't have the cash flow coming in at the end of the month or at the end of the year, then you're going to be in serious trouble, because it affects your lending capability, it affects you running your household, or in the terms of a business, in you being a successful business or staying in business. So you want to make sure that your cash flow is very important to either your personal life or your business life, okay? Which is why I said cash flow is more important than revenue, because you can have someone who earns $1 million a year, but they're spending $1.2 million a year. So you have a negative situation, okay? Or you can have somebody who's earning $1 million a year, but they have a $200,000 positive cash flow. All right, so you always want to make sure that you analyze your situation, you keep your expenses low, and that way you will have a better cash flow situation. So I hope you found value in this video, and like I said, I have lots of resources on my channel in terms of personal finance and wealth creation. Make sure you check the link down below. I have a link to a course that I created, which I also use to get myself out of some very tough financial situation. So I'm offering that course to my subscribers and to the general public, so you can check the link down below. Make sure you click on that link and sign up for the course. It's going to be money well spent on your part. It's a basic course, but it gives you the foundation to get you going with your personal finance and also creating wealth for yourself. Because the way things are going right now, the world is changing. There's a global reset happening right now with the health situation that we're still going through right now. A lot of families are struggling, a lot of people are struggling, and it's paramount that you take your personal finance seriously, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind. There are lots of people that are going to lose their societal standing, okay, because they're not being proactive with where they are right now. So I don't want that to be you. You want to make sure that you take your personal finance seriously, and make sure that you get your financial house in order. I'm doing the same thing as well. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm just a regular guy on YouTube, just trying to share life experiences with you. And I want to thank you again for coming on this journey with me. And as usual, if you like my content, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so YouTube will notify you when I have new videos coming up, okay? And as usual, before we go, I want to tell you, be true to yourself, be true to your goals, and never ever ever give up. And I'll catch you in my next video coming up shortly. Take care. Bye bye.